Hi everyone, my name is Paulina Hanna, and for my final project, I've chosen the topic HIV and AIDS. What is HIV? HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus, that basically gets into one cell and affects the T cells, which are cells that fight off infection. Once it's fought with the T cells, the virus destroys the T cells, which then prevents the person's immune system from protecting itself, which is what causes the HIV. So there's two types. There's HIV-1 and HIV-2, and then there's AIDS, which starts with acquired immune deficiency syndrome. What this means is that if the HIV is not cured, or not cured, but controlled, and all of the T cells get destroyed, then it would become AIDS instead of just HIV. The history of HIV, it was actually identified in 1980, but it's believed that it all started in the 1920s from chimpanzees located in Kinshasa. And scientists thought that, in Kinshasa, people, I guess, ate chimpanzees, and chimpanzees had SIV, which stands for a simian immunodeficiency virus, which is very similar to HIV. And so researchers and scientists thought that, if when people ate the chimpanzees, that's what caused them to get HIV. So how was HIV and AIDS understood, and what was thought to have caused it? Like most of the slides in my presentation have the same title, just because there's a lot of information, a lot of changes that happened throughout the years regarding HIV and AIDS. Excuse me. So in the 1980s, it seemed that AIDS was understood to be only caused by the gay community, mostly gay men, and the couple diseases that they thought it was PCP and Kaposi's sarcoma, which is a type of cancer. In 1982, New York Times published the term GRID, which stood for gay-related immune deficiency. So of course, the New York Times publishing this made the public believe that the AIDS only affected gay men. And I feel that this was because there wasn't a lot of research done on gay men sexually. I don't think. I didn't research that as just my own personal opinion. But also in 1982, AIDS was found in Haitians, which led to researchers thinking it came from Haiti. So that's why I feel like, a lot of the reasons why this came about, how it came about, kind of changed because it was just like coming from everywhere, basically. Continuing, 1983, AIDS was found in the wife's husband. So from here, they considered it to be passed on through heterosexual sex. And also in 1883, doctors reported that LAV could be the cause of AIDS. Also, children started showing signs of AIDS, and so they thought it could be passed on by normal contact. But then it was concluded that it may have been transmitted during pregnancy or shortly after birth. This also helped the doctors rule out the transmitting of the disease through normal day-to-day routines, such as food intake, casual contact, air, etc. So the doctors tested all this out and confirmed that this didn't come. HIV and AIDS wasn't caused by just normal contact or day-to-day life. In 84, the National Cancer Institute published that the cause of AIDS is HTLV 3, after they hope to develop a vaccine for it in 2 years. CDC published that injecting drug use and sharing needles can prevent one from the virus, in which this also is very important for today. Obviously, they try to keep all the any syringes sterile, just because they don't want to transfer any blood or anything like that. In 86, the International Committee on the Taxonomy of Viruses decided to use the name HIV. So that's when HIV came about, or the actual term, in 1986. In 87, the FDA approved the first antiretroviral drug, AZD, to treat HIV. And also in 1987, WHO confirmed that HIV can be passed from mother to child during breastfeeding. So this was all a huge breakthrough, and I feel like this all the breakthroughs progressed once technology was in, and once doctors and researchers were able to perform more research because of the different technology that was offered throughout the years, and even continuing on today, really. In 91, here is a good example. Professional basketball player Irvin Johnson, which is also Magic Johnson, announced that he had HIV and wanted to retire to educate young kids about HIV. And this was huge to the public because his teachings changed the stereotype that HIV was like obviously not a gay disease. So it changed the fact that it was only a gay disease, really, because once it had started off with just gay, I think it's really hard to change the society's mindset with the research and the statistics, and just know that there is a lot of research on HIV and AIDS, and not a lot of people understand it, because even for me, when I was reading through it, I was like so scattered brained because there was just so much information on it. So that's why I try to stay focused on one topic. So anyways, keep going. In 92, the FDA released a 10-minute testing kit to detect HIV-1. In 93, the CDC added pulmonary tuberculosis, recurrent pneumonia, and cervical cancer to the list of AIDS indicators. In 94, the FDA approved of an oral HIV test, which was the first HIV test that didn't involve blood. And the reason why I put the new indicators or the new tests and stuff, because I just feel it's important to know like how it like progressed, like the testing for HIV and AIDS, and how it's still progressing till this day, and how it's changing almost every year, as you can see, like 92, 93, 94. So it's just constantly changing, constantly growing, and it's providing all of us knowledge. Also in 95, the FDA approved the first protease inhibitory, which is a highly active antiretroviral treatment. And the number of AIDS-related deaths decreased immediately to about 60 to 80%, which is absolutely huge. Also, again, because of the technology and everything that's changing and the research that's being done, it's great. In 96, the FDA approved the first home testing kit that measured the level of HIV in the blood, and the first HIV urine test. In 97, the FDA approved Comvivir, which was a combination of two antiretroviral drugs that were made up to help people live with HIV. In 99, the WHO published that AIDS was the fourth biggest cause of death worldwide and number one in Africa. In 2002, the FDA approved the first rapid HIV test with 99.6 accuracy and provided a result in 20 minutes. In 2006, it was found that male circumcision would reduce the risk of female-to-male HIV transmission. In 2013, UNAIDS reported that AIDS-related deaths had decreased 30% since 2005. In 2017, for the first time, more than half of the population worldwide are receiving antiretroviral treatment, about 19.5 million people. And I chose this photo, which says, "My friend with AIDS is still my friend. Say no to ignorance and discrimination." And the reason I chose this photo, because for me, growing up, being completely transparent, when people said HIV, it was kind of like a disgust, kind of like, oh, ew, like they've done some bad stuff in their lives, like, kind of like judged all of that. And I never grew up thinking that it was just like the gay community, honestly. It just was like, I grew up with people around me saying that, oh, like that's like disgusting, like don't go near them, or something like that. Like they would think like poorly of them. And I feel it's very important that, of course, people with AIDS is not, I don't think it's disgusting. I don't think anything. I honestly believe that it's become so huge in our society and our research, and the research is still ongoing about it. And I just think it's very important to know that, everyone is going through something and that if I had a friend with AIDS, they're still my friend. I would never say no to being my friend just because you have AIDS. So yeah, that's why I chose this photo. And these are my resources. And that is the end of my presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it. And thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it.